Good evening, Cowboy fans. This is B Bird Cowboy coming back at you. This is this is send out another video. Um, Yesterday was the scrimmage against the Rams, and from everything I've heard, uh, we kind of suffered from some of the same things. I guess the highlight was, hey, we still can't run the ball, and we still can't stop the run. So that's a little bit concerning. I know it's not even preseason yet; it's a scrimmage, but it's kind of concerning to hear the same things that we heard last year. Um, Personnel-wise, we didn't change much up front. So as far as defense and offensively, we did have Booker. Now, I will give us that we didn't have one of the best guards in the league, and Tyler Smith playing. So that gives me some hope. But it just got me to thinking about, if you start looking at a commonality between teams that can stop the run on defense and then even other teams that can run the ball, both of them do it with toughness, right? And if you want to run the ball and impose your will on other teams, say on other teams' defenses, at some point in time, you just got to line up and whoop people. Scheme will help you some, but at some point in time, it's not going to be smoke and mirrors. It's going to be, no, man, we got to beat the person in front of us. And to do that, it takes a physical toughness, but also a mental toughness to do that. Defensively, hey, at some point in time, the same thing. If you're going to be a run stopper, you're just going to get in there and just go at it. It's not going to be technique. It's going to be some technique, but at some point in time, it's just going to be, you need some dogs. It's just going to go get after it. And so I was just wondering if, and I hadn't seen a really tough Cowboy team, a bully type team in a long time around here. Actually, I cannot remember the last time we had that kind of team that walk in and kind of, intimidated other teams, or other team was, hey, no, we know this is going to be a tough day. So that's why the title of this is, Are We Tough Enough? Like, are we tough enough? Like, are we building a tough team? And that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. I mean, by the way, how a whole organization operates. So my first thing would be toughness, and how do you get it? Well, to me personally, it's just a culture thing, right? It's a thing that, whenever you can take the easy way out as a coach and be lighter, no, you go the hard way, right? I can remember this when I went to basic training. They put us in barracks, right? So why didn't they put us in a Holiday Inn or a hotel or something like that? Well, because when you go to basic training, they're trying to get soldiers ready for battle, and so they're not putting you in the best conditions. They're putting you on a bed with a sheet or cover, and they're trying to put you through some things. And I like the way there's two sayings on here that I've that has enlightened me along the way that Cowboy Country creator's given me. One of them is Law, when he says, those convinced against their will are of the same opinion still, which is absolutely right. But Coach Marv has one, and he's a legendary, he has a station now too, so go check out Coach Marv whenever, he has a YouTube channel. Whenever if you can, go check him out. But Coach Marv says, I think it's those who sweat more in peace bleed less in war. So I think, like, tough camps, man, you can't be afraid to lose players. You can't be afraid to lose assets because of toughness. You can't give too many days off in these veteran days to guys that are like second teamers or whatever. You got to build a toughness on your team, and that's a tough mindset. It's going to be hard for Shotty because, for one, Shotty's a player's coach, man. He brings a lot of energy, positive energy. Shotty is he's an uplifter, and I have no issue with that. for the most part. But it depends on what the team needs, right? Like if you have a grinding team, then that was already in place, and you coming in and you bring that in, then that's probably going to balance out. But if you have a team that's kind of soft and physically and mentally, well, you might need to put those guys through the fire. You may need to be accountable. You may need to call some guys out by their lack of toughness, or not running to the play, or shying away from contact, or something like that. You may have to be that to set the tone. So I think it's a combination that of what we've already had here, and to be honest with you, the front office actually is our culture. They're the ones that dictate our culture. The football guys don't dictate our culture. So it's going to be that's a tough mountain for Shadi, who, to me, in his personality, he's not that accountability guy. He's not that, hold guys foot to the fire guy. That's just not what he is at this point, from what I see. One of the things that I remember when Jimmy Johnson took over, they had asthma field, whereas if the players could not complete conditioning, they couldn't even come to practice. And they had to stay over there and keep conditioning until they were ready to come back to practice. And then they allowed them over. But also what they did too is they had their training camps in St. Edwards, in Austin, Texas. Now, anybody in Texas knows that in July, it's 100 degrees down here. And so Jimmy put them through that, right? They had to go through practices like that. They went to tour days like that too. But what he was doing again is he was putting them through some things. So then when, it gets heated during the season, they can always rely on, hey, the camp that we went through was a tough camp. So if we can get through that, we can get through anything else. But those kind of camps also get you right mentally. And so I'm not saying that they can go back to that, but some semblance of that still needs to be in place. I just think that, we go against each other in training camp and guys look good. You might have somebody dominating this, that, and the other, but you never really know, because that's relative, right? You don't know what you have. But when you go against somebody else, that's what tell you who's been grinding in camp. So from all accounts, the Rams took it to them physically. So that means that they've been in camp going at it. Some people have been saying that, well, they've already had their offense have already been installed, their defense have already been installed. So the Cowboys are still trying to do it. That was the difference. At the end of the day, I don't really buy that. I will say that they may have added some to it, but at some point in time, the running game is just a running game, man. Guards got to move people out the way. Centers got to move people out the way. And they just didn't do it. Some of this stuff is not really rocket science. It's just hat on hat, move people out the way. And they're not doing it. Or on defense, they're getting moved out the way. And it wouldn't be such a thing if this didn't occur to us last year, or the Green Bay game. So we've seen all these things before. So it's kind of, it's a little bit alarming, but I'm not going to sound the alarm bell at this point in time, because it is training camp, it is a scrimmage. We're going to continue to watch in these preseason games and see how everything goes. And then we'll go up to Philadelphia and see how that goes also. One of the things that the One Tech has been talked about a lot this offseason, and one of the things some people pointed out, some content creators, is that the One Tech our One Tech in his defense may be going to be used like a 3-tech, like to get up the field and this, that, and the other. But, for them to go into camp with that many questions at One Tech, to me is mismanagement. That and cornerback. I saw a clip, I guess, I can't remember, but where I got it from. But I saw it, my son sent it to me. It was off Twitter. But our cornerbacks were getting cooked yesterday. They just had a chop up of it. And the thing is that We had uh, Adams going against some of our corners, but people might say that, well, that was our second and third corners, but we really don't know who's going to be our starting corners. We play against Philadelphia opening game, so we don't know who we have. We really don't have anyone proven but Bland, and the other two. I mean, we don't know what we're going to get. So some of these guys could be the ones that's out there on opening night. So we have two, but when we knew this coming into training camp, we knew this in the off season. We knew this after the draft. And so that and one tech, we have not sufficiently, answered that question. I think that what you should do as a GM, as I said last year with Gilly, I felt last year we should have brought Gilly back. And the reason why I said that is because Trevon Diggs was coming off a major surgery. What that would have done is that would have allowed Trevon to maybe, come back game 5 or 6, not rush him back. I mean, he may have rushed back on his own, but he also had pressure from the organization to get back. But if you had Gilly there, then Gilly and Bland starts the season. Well, if Bland gets hurt, which he did, now when Diggs comes back, you still have 2 top-notch corner, and you had Lewis at the slot. So sometimes when you go out and get somebody like a Gilly, and then everybody's healthy, now you just got a surplus of good guys, just in case somebody get hurt, because this is a war of attrition. Guys are going to get hurt. But when one guy gets hurt, like a Bland, and you bring a Gilly in, you don't miss much. But if you go lean like that, where, hey, all our starters are great, second team, I don't know. As soon as somebody get hurt, that I don't know guys coming in the game. So I just think that they had time to fix this. They just had not done it. Back to the toughness thing. I'm going to continue watching that throughout the preseason. That's what I thought that, that Shotty would bring to the table. I think he'd have that, but again, I don't know if his voice is being overshadowed because of the Joneses, right? So we just got to keep an eye on it. That's why I asked the other day when I was on Father and Son cast, who's running this thing? When is the last time we had a type A personality coach? I mean, a come in, a kick butt coach. And Jules answered Bill Parcells. So that means that every coach we had since Bill Parcells have been, guys that sit back and let things happen instead of stepping up in the lead of this organization, being the face of this organization. So that's kind of what I need Shotty to do. I need you to step up. I know it's hard. I know the Joneses are there and their presence is there. But I need you to step up and take the mic and say, yeah, no, this is my team. And you can send a message to the team. You can send a message to the Joneses and just stand up and say, no, this is the way it's going to be. You were raised under a football guy. You've been in this league long. You've seen what great coaches do. And great teams are not run through the GM. They're not run through the owner. They're run through the head coach. I remember when the Commanders made the championship game last year, and they had Magic Johnson on. They interviewed him. They said, "Hey, Magic, what do you think?" He said, "Hey, look, when the season starts, it's all on the coaches. We just let them do their job, and we get out their way. We stay out of their way. We let them have it." And what Magic was saying is, "Hey, we don't know a lot about this stuff. We're owners, so we're going to let the guys that live this, bleed this, that was born and raised in this, do this." And so that's what they did, and that's what he did. And so they, when people talk about these front offices and say, "Well, B. Bird, we need a new quarterback. We need a new running back. No." What the Commanders did, they got the toxic Snyder out of there. And then they went and hired a president, a head coach, a quarterback. They changed the structure, and what they did, they changed the organization. And you see what happened. Before that, they were, we always knew where they were going to end up, which was behind us. But since they changed all the top, it just not many players changed, a few changed, but they changed the important players in the front office, and you see what happens. You get the toxicity out of it, and then you see what happens, and then they flourished. So, in short, are we tough enough? And I would say no, we're not right now. But hopefully, Shotty can get them guys in line, man, so we can go into this year knowing that, hey, we are tough enough. Knowing that when we get hit in the mouth, we'll hit back. Because I think a lot of our issues have been psychologically, whereas we're front runners. When we get out in the lead, we feel good about ourselves. Our defense can play the pass, which what we do is rush the pass best. And, we kind of put the other team on their heels. But when we get behind, the opposite happens. You can see the Dak eyes. You can see people throwing up their hands and the body language and all that other kind of stuff. So we got to get ourselves right mentally, man, to where we can kind of bounce back from those kind of things happening to us. I would say this too, and I often talk about Jimmy because he's my favorite coach. And what Jimmy, he would look at his team and know the second time we played for our second Super Bowl in the 90s, we played the 49ers, but the night before or during the week in practice, Jimmy said he felt like the team was a little bit tight, a little bit nervous. So if you want to know where the 3-inch headline thing came from, that's what he did. He put all the pressure on his back so the players could go out there and play free because everybody's going to come to him if he lost. And so the players went out there and played free and we won and then end up going to another Super Bowl and winning another Super Bowl. So we got to have some of that in a coach. We got to be able to detect the team and see, okay, they're a little tight. I remember Mike McCarthy said against San Francisco when we lost to those guys that, I could tell the team's a little bit antsy, a little bit nervous going during the week. Well, what did you do about it? If you saw that, what did you do about it? You just let it go? Or you didn't try to do anything psychologically to get those guys to play loose? When was the last time? Well, I would say I was going to ask this question, but I know the answer. The last time we played a game like we played in the regular season was, I guess, the playoff game at Tampa Bay. Now, I'm going to bring up at Tampa Bay because we play better when we are on the road and underdogs. So because the pressure is off of us, we're not a team that can operate under pressure. That's why we have not played our better games in the playoffs at home. And I'll tell y'all a secret too. You know who else give out nervous energy? You know who else did in the San Francisco game we lost and in the Green Bay game we lost? The fans. Because they're like, oh man, this ain't going to script. And that whole energy gets into the stadium. The team has it, everybody has it. And I know at that point in time, it's going to be a long day. So that's why we played well on the road, because we didn't have that pressure on us. So, but a good coach knows how to take that pressure off his team. He can identify that pressure and say, no, these guys, they're tight, man. Let's loosen this thing up a little bit. So anyway, I guess this whole thing was about toughness, man. I did kind of veer off a little bit, but I want to see a tough Cowboy team. Now, it's going to be hard to do because name a really tough, historically, dome team. I mean, that's just not what we are. And the thing about it is, going back to the dome thing, hey, we could be playing a playoff game in Washington. We could be playing a playoff game if we make the playoffs in Philadelphia. We could be playing a playoff game in Green Bay, and we're talking about January. So, hey, only tough teams win going there. Only teams that can stop the run and run the ball go there. And that goes back to toughness. So where I saw somebody earlier saying that, well, we're going to be a pass first team and the passing game is working. That's working in September and October, November. That's working at home. But is it going to work on the road? And I think we should prepare our team, and our team should be built like for all seasons. I often say this, and I've said this before, my favorite offense, with the exception of the 90s, was the 2014 Dallas Cowboy offense. DeMarco Murray ran for 1,800 yards and a lot of touchdowns. But we still had Tony Romo, who could throw for 350 if we needed him to. And so That's the kind of offense I want to go back to, where we're not Dak dependent, right? I don't need Dak to throw 45 times for us to win. I want him to be in the 30-something range. I want to be able to run the ball when we want to, because those things travel, man. Stopping the run and running the ball travels. Those places I was telling you about, you can win there if you can run the ball and you can stop the run. But if you are a pass-reliant team, it's going to be hard to win those games when the wind chill is -10, the wind's blowing at 22 miles per hour and it's raining or it's snowing. It's going to be hard to win those games there. So I like what Shadi said in the offseason about him being dedicated to the run, but we're going to see how much he is. So I just hopefully that, this is a punch in the mouth and they respond. And hopefully this is just something that is not indicative of how we're going to be for the rest of the year. That's my time, Cowboy Nation. Comment in the comment below, and subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff. I thought I'd never be saying that, but do all that stuff for me. This is B-Bird Cowboys out.